Hello everybody. This is Angela from Art in Oakland Park, and we are going to make our acrylic pour picture frame. So this is one that I had done last week, and it's all dried and cured and done. And you see it has a little bit of a matte finish. It doesn't have like a real shiny wet look. And it's a picture frame. You could put a picture in the back, and there's a little wooden stick that when you put it in the back like this, so when you open your package, don't throw away the little stick with the plastic paper, because that will help it sit on the table like that. And you can display it either this way or this way. So either the landscape or the portrait way you can display it. So this is the finished product of what we're going to make. So you are going to have a bag similar to this, and inside of it, excuse me, you have parchment paper to protect your working surface. And you can use any kind of parchment paper. If you have like a plastic throwaway tablecloth, you could use that for more protection if you like on your working surface. So this is the unfinished wood picture frame and a few wooden craft sticks. Oh, I just got a splinter from it. Wooden craft sticks and some empty cups and 4 colors of paint. So when we did the tote bags, we did different colors and they varied in each kit. But for this one, we're going to do all the same colors. Everybody's going to have the same colors. And we're doing primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, plus white. And you'll see that's the same colors that I used for this one. And as you can see, the colors mix a little bit. You get some oranges in there. If the red and the blue, when we pour it, it's next to each other, you might get some of the purples in there too. There's a little bit in here. And of course, with the white, you get different shades of the colors as well. So I thought that was a good combination for everybody, and that way you can get your variation of colors. So we will start step by step with this acrylic pour excuse me, on our wooden picture frame. So we're going to protect our surface. We're going to take 2 of the empty cups, and you could either leave this in when you pour, or you could take it out. I think I'm going to take it out of this one. I usually leave it in, and then I try to take it out before it's completely dry so it doesn't stick, but you can take it out ahead of time. And you might need a little tool for these things. They're a little bit hard to push, so you could maybe even use one of these. Just be careful not to hurt your fingers. I'm so used to it, but okay. So we have our picture frame. I will do like catty corner. Just make sure it's level. Make sure your surface that you're working on is somewhat level, especially when it's drying. Because otherwise, if it's not, the paint tends to kind of roll off one side or the other depending on which way it's leaning. So try to make sure, I mean, you don't really have to get out a level or anything, but make sure it's not on a completely crooked table. Unless, of course, you can go for that look if you want. And you can always touch it up after, if you leave it and it's dry and it is kind of falling off the side, you can always pour again over it or touch it up a little bit. After it's dry, you can always adjust it more. It's never finished if you don't want it to be. If you want to keep working on it, you can. And these paints are a combination of acrylic paint, like regular, like kind of craft paint, acrylic paint, and Floetrol, white glue, and water. I don't have my bottle of Floetrol here, but It just thins the acrylic paint out a little bit so it has a bit better flow to it. So before you get started, give them a good shake. I already pre-mixed everything. When I do classes or workshops in the studio, I usually have everybody do each part of it. But it's just so many different materials, and I felt like it would be so much waste with all the cups and everything. So I got it all pre-mixed to avoid too much waste. Now I know a couple of you have poured before, so it's one of those things that you get your own, like your own way of doing it and your own style, and not that one is right or wrong. We all just have different ways of doing things. So if you say, oh, I poured before and I don't do it that way, you could do it however you want to do it. We all have our own style. And it's good because then sometimes you see the way somebody else does something and you're like, wow, I never even thought of that. So I've been doing it for a few years and I still learn new things all the time. So hopefully you can get a good view when I'm pouring. I'm gonna get it a little closer there. So we are going to pour a little bit of each color into our empty cup, alternating colors and not mixing them. Okay, you're not gonna take your little stick and mix them up together. You're gonna keep them layered in the cup, a little bit at a time. Hopefully you can see how I have it in there. Okay, so I'm just gonna alternate a little bit more red. I really like blue, so I'm gonna add a little bit more blue. And you don't have to use all of the colors. You know, if you wanted to keep it just white and blue, you could do that to, you know, match whatever decor, or if you wanted to just do, you know, 2 of the colors, you can do that too. They're all pretty contrasting colors. I try to make sure with pours that you do have the contrast, because say if we had, you know, just yellow and white, you wouldn't really have too much of the effect. You want to make sure that it's contrasting so that you can see like some of the pigments raise up to the top and some of them drop down. So if you have similar colors, then you won't really get too much of that cool contrast that makes it look pretty. So I have all my colors layered in the cup. I didn't use all of the paint. I used maybe half of each. And as it starts to sit in there a little bit, you can start to see kind of a little bit of the effects before I even pour it on. Sometimes it looks cooler in the cup than it does on the art, but it's okay. So once we have it all layered in our cup, we're just going to start pouring. And you want to make sure you're a little bit away from the edge of the table so that you don't ruin your table or floor or whatever is in the way. And you can pour it on however you like. You can do, you know, stripes down this way, or you can do zigzag. Ooh, those ribbons look pretty cool in there. Okay. And look at that cup. That looks so cool. I'm going to spill it on the floor. Very cool. Alright, so I'm going to put this a little bit tighter one more time. And you can see some of the wood is still showing, of course. So I'm going to take a little stick and try not to push it around too much, because the colors will mix and start to get muddy. But I just bring it over to the edge. I usually use my fingers, but if you don't want to touch it, you can use the stick. Oh, this side came out really cool. I'm trying not to mess it up too much. And just bring it to the edge. And then I will usually use my finger just to wipe it. I really like the way this looks, but it's very thick. I poured a lot of paint on there, so we could always tilt it a little bit. I kind of don't want to ruin the cool pattern that's on there though. And the drips on my parchment paper look really cool too. So I'm just going to take my finger and rub it along the edges a little bit just to cover all the edges. You can leave your edges blank if you want, or you could take some of the extra paint and put it on there. And again, you can do that with the stick too if you want. I usually just use my finger because it's easier. And I don't mind getting full of paint. I think that's part of the fun. And if you're watching this and you're not one of the people from Parkland who got the kits, I do have more kits available. If you want to order a couple of kits and try it out, I will have that available. You could just send me a message on any of my platforms. So sorry, my video cut out. You can send me a message on any of my platforms, and if you're local, we can do like a pickup or delivery for the kit, or if you're out of town, we can do shipping as well. So here is what we have, and you see it's shiny because it's wet, but it will dry to like a matte color. And you see how different these two are. With all the same colors, I did it the same way. It always has a life of its own. So it looks like maybe I poured with a little bit more design, like zigzag, on the new one than I did on this one. This one I kind of did a little bit straight across. So as you can see, they're a little bit different. And like I said, you want to let it dry on a relatively flat surface. Maybe check on it here and there throughout the drying process. It'll be dry completely within 24 hours. But depending on the conditions, humidity and temperature and everything, but by then it should be dry. And then if you see pieces that you say you don't like, say I don't like this side too much, or even like the whole thing, you can always scrape the paint off. People get upset when I do this, but I think it's fun. Scrape the paint off. Oh, and I forgot to mention, you might find, because of the Floetrol, which helps the paint flow a little bit, thins it out, you might find there's sometimes couple little chunks in there. So if you see that there is a little chunk, you can always just, if you see that it's creating a texture that you don't like, you can always just pick it out of there with the stick, or with your finger. Okay, so say I'm not happy with it, I want to start over. You can always do that too. You can pour more, or you can just paint it one at a time like this if you want. Which you can even do this from the beginning if you would rather. If you don't want to layer them in the cup, there's different ways that you can do it. But you can always fix it if you're not happy with it. Always, 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 always. So say you wanted to change it, it was a little bit too busy for me. I like it a little bit more simpler. So you can use your stick as a tool here. And you can even it out, or if you don't even it out, it'll pretty much self-level anyway as it dries, when you let it dry. So So say like I didn't like the yellow in it, it was too busy. You can just pour some colors on there. And now I have a little bit more of a red, white, and blue look here. And just say I wanted to add some more of the white in here. You can kind of shake it on there a little bit. And it will change. The way that it looks when you first pour it will not stay the same. So as it dries and some of the pigments rise and fall, it will change a bit. Okay guys, so if you have any questions or comments, you can either email me at artinoaklandpark@yahoo, or you can text me. My phone number is on the cards you'll get, or you can send me a message on Facebook or Instagram or any of that stuff. I'm at Art in Oakland Park, at Art in Oakland Park. And let me know. I would love to be able to see what you guys create too. If you wanted to like email me some pictures, I would really, really love that. And if not, hopefully I will see you again soon in Parkland to do another in-person class, or I'll see you soon at one of my other events. All right. Take care, guys. Thanks. Bye.